Welcome everybody back to another episode of Beyond the Box. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Sasha Hryciuk and Tracy Simmons, leadership team at Loft47, which I think is actually the best kept Proptech secret out there in the North American market. So I'm super pumped about today, really excited to jump in. So with that, Sasha, thanks for coming on the show. Tracy, thanks for coming on the show. For those people that don't know you, and again, best kept secret in my opinion, what is Loft47?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. We're so excited to be here. We are a commission management and accounting platform for teams or real estate brokerages. So that's often referred to as the back office or the back office product. So we focus on financials, mainly around commission or those complex commission plans or scaling commission plans, compliance around trust or escrow, and all the accounting entries that actually have to hit the P&L or a balance sheet to actually bring out some accurate financial statements. So you could compare us to the Lone Wolf's Broker Wolf product, and there's also several others that are trying to tackle this sort of functionality from different standpoints or in various ways.
Got it. Okay. So I neglected to point this out. So Sasha, you're the CEO and the founder. Tracy, yes, you're the chief revenue officer and partner with the firm. I want to jump over to you for a second, but I just want to hit this one nail right on the head because there's two things when I think what you just said. I think it's a little bit boring if I'm going to be in the tech space. And then the second thing is, there's really big players in it and I have to go head to head. So how the heck did you get into a place where you're building this tech product with Loft, and then maybe thread in how you were able to loop in a superstar like Tracy as part of the cause?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great story because I came to real estate in 2010. I knew nothing about real estate, accounting, process, anything like that, but I've always been a little bit boring. I'm a back office kind of person. So my focus was operations management, workflow analysis, trying to get efficiencies out of process, implementing technology to do so. So when I was hired by a large franchise, it was my first exposure to real estate. And I was immediately surprised at the lack of options in technology in that office space or the back office space. So I was hired to roll out a proprietary system for them. And they had been building it for a couple of years and it wasn't a successful project, but it led me to really stay with them and do some digging into products that they could use. So they didn't want to rebuild it. So this would be an off-the-shelf product or even a transaction management system that just had the maybe add on an accounting component or something like that. So did tons of research and couldn't find anything. So this company ultimately chose to go with Lone Wolf, which is the incumbent, that big player that you were talking about. That's the big guy. And it works really well for large brokerages. So they went with that. And the project was really surprising to me. Not because the software works really well, but it was more that I was, expecting to see modern influences. So it's not web-based. The interface was really kind of clunky and really hard to navigate. So it took a lot of investment in the project to launch it. And then also training. So I guess by just going through that project, I really understood like there's a huge opportunity here, but at the same time, I understood just how big that lift would be. That's a lot of development and it's not the sexy side of real estate. It's not what's out there. It's not what gets people excited, but it's what's necessary, right? So I knew that it was necessary, but I took a step back. I worked in tech. I wanted to see what people were doing, especially out of the box accounting systems. Like what does modern accounting look like? How are they using automation? How are they thinking about machine learning? How are they connecting different applications through APIs? And then I just started really building out, hey, what is the most value add piece of this that doesn't exist in an accounting platform today? And that's commissions, right? So it's all those fee structures, all those workflows around bank rules and all that kind of stuff that you have to have depending where you are in where you're operating out of in the country or in the state or in a province. And really it was just, how do I connect these two? So we can build this side of it. We can be really good at this. And then what are those data points that really connect to the accounting record where you can just tie it in to make a cohesive system? So that was kind of the approach of it. And then I mapped that out and then I hit the streets. I talked to broker owners and some brokerages and got some letters of intent and just presented it and said, hey, here's what I want to build. If I build it, would you use it? And if you would use it, would you buy it? And so I got some great responses. I had like over $1 million in annual revenue under letters of intent, which was great. I mean, it's not binding, but it allowed me to get some funding. So we kicked it off. And due to that big lift, it took us 9 months, almost a year, to get to MVP, or a product that we could actually sell. And then, of course, as we're looking at that looming sales cycle, you know, I'm really thinking we need that person that can reach out to our customers. And we knew that we didn't know enough, because you can build for a certain product or marketplace fit, but every market is so different through real estate. So we knew we had to be as flexible as possible. So we knew we needed to reach out to customers, find the customers, but also have those customers kind of influence the development. And of course, I thought of Tracy, because Tracy and I worked together on that big franchise, on that project. And I mean, she just blew me away. So she's a great salesperson, great account rep, but more importantly, she was like an ally. So she totally understood the pain, totally understood the space, probably for everybody, but especially for me, it felt amazing to have an ally like that. And she would like never hesitate to roll up her sleeves, dig in, help out. So, I mean, I was just so impressed with her professionally and personally that, you know, we became friends. And so I was just always like hoping that at some point she would come and join me on this venture. And lucky for me, she did.
So what does that phone call look like? So let's go right back to the phone call or coffee. What did she say to you, Tracy?
Was
How did she get you on side?
Yeah.
Very first time.
There was a precursor, because we were actually at an NAR conference.
Oh,
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And we had, sort of that initial conversation where Sasha said, I'm going to do this and you're going to work for me someday. And I thought, yeah, I don't know about that.
She said no. It was a flat out no.
However, it planted a seed, of course. And, as Sasha mentioned, we became friends, and both of us being super enamored with the real estate back office space, which again, may be a little bit boring for some, but for others, it's a passion. So, the fact that Sasha went out and did that heavy lifting and that legwork, I was really excited to become a part of the Loft sales cycle right from the beginning, once we had MVP, and start talking to my, clients that I knew and new clients in the marketplace, and looking at it from a fresh approach. I mean, it was really actually amazing for me, especially in the first months of working in the product, in the Loft47 application, was that, especially coming from MVP, when things needed to change, which we knew they did, and Sasha knew they did, coming out of MVP, that there was going to be a lot of features and development that were going to happen very quickly, that development happened very quickly. So coming from sort of legacy back office situations where things moved at a very low and slow pace, just seeing things happen quickly and efficiently, and being able to punch out new features and new product in such a short period of time, it took me aback, and it energized me, and it was a really special time for us.
I love this. And, it's such an interesting story, because when we're talking to so many different founders, the challenge is, I built this MVP and now I need to find the market fit. You, Sasha, you flipped the model on its head and you went out and you secured LOIs. And, to your point, you can't take them to the bank, but they validate to an extent what you're looking to do. And it reminds me of a podcast we did a few episodes ago with Carrie Houston, who runs a 3-to-1 Growth Academy. And this is how she went out and started her growth firm, went out and secured signups to the course without having the course. You did the exact same thing. So yeah. You're a first-time founder, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So you went and arguably did the best path forward. How the heck did you go out and secure $1 million of letters of intent with literally nothing but an idea?
I think there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in the space. And I knew that. And I knew that areas of frustration, because I had just gone through that. And I mean, I just mocked up what it might look like, but really then just spoke to, hey, this is possible. Like, it's possible to have platforms where agents can log in, right? Where you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. And it's possible to have a lot of automation today. And it's possible to not have something that's really clunky and just learn it in an hour. These things are all possible, and it can actually, really help your organization. So I feel like there has been this appetite for a long time, but because this is the financials, it's a little bit scary for people. So making that decision to actually move stuff over, I think in the beginning to an unknown platform is probably more of a sales problem than actually selling the features. Because I think there's a craving for it. I mean, yes, it's accounting, but everybody has to do it in some way, shape, or form. And, modern tools are the better way to do it. Easy.
So on that, I'm going to ask one more question, then we'll move on from it. But
yeah,
to secure LOIs, you have to set pricing. You don't have a product. How did these how did you get inks on paper and numbers? Like,
well, and what's really interesting is that the first concept for Loft was a services company. So it was, we'll do your deals for you. So it's the admin coming into the office really, or no longer coming into the office, but being able to do it from anywhere, anytime kind of thing. So it is a hard discussion, right? Because, if you would use it, great. And I had to co-sell them on the idea of, hey, like this is now online. You can see all the progress of any deal, but you have to get comfortable with maybe not having somebody in your office. And a lot of them really, it came down to like, well, I'd still like somebody in my office, but maybe they can be employed through you or whatnot. So that came down. And I think that was actually an easier discussion. It might be a different sell, but it was an easier discussion because if it's a service, you can understand the value of the effort it takes to pay out a deal. So how long does it take to enter these deals? How many deals is your admin person processing? So in that way, it actually lended itself to a really nice conversation about funding or about price.
Got it.
Yeah, and when the rubber met the road, we found that the industry was actually not really ready for a full services-based model. So we ended up offering a mix of software licensing versus let Loft do it, which is the product that we call. So now our clients on demand are able to use the software fully as a software tool inside their organization. And when they're short-staffed or overburdened with those ups and downs of a lot of volume of business, they're able to just click a button and our staff then take over and do the deal for them. So it's a different model than what's being offered in the marketplace.
It's so inspiring. And, we use the analogy of where the dog catches the bus, right? You're chasing the bus and then you catch the bus. And now you're like, oh, what do I do with the bus? So I'm envisioning you've got, these LOIs, you've got all this thing, and they're like, oh crap, we actually have to do something. We've got to build something now.
Yeah.
What was that moment? Talk me through that point from, okay, now this is real. I've got people that are like putting their weight behind this. I got to do something.
So I'm very fortunate to have worked in the tech scene in Vancouver, and I worked with a company called Brewhouse. And Calv, so I had known him for a while, and really, I thought it was a great approach because they had a team. So they had a product manager and a group of people around them, and they would help me, or did help me, hire our CTO today. And so they were helping build kind of the MVP, which was like, a month or two of development, but also really helping me hire and structure my own team and flow for the development side. But I'm going to agree with Tracy, coming from, I had a lot of fear that when you build these big products and it's so hard to change them after they've been built. And all I cared about was the flexibility, right? So every time they coded something, I was like, that can't be permanent because it could happen this way. It could happen this way. It could happen this way. And it took me a long time to just like get into that. We do weekly sprints. The software can change dramatically from week to week. It's really easy to make those adjustments, but it was really hard for me because knowing that you don't know enough and knowing that things change so far everywhere, like every region across North America, right? So I mean, yeah, it's daunting. It's super daunting, but I was really grateful to structure it that way, to have like the support of people that I really trusted and have them help me bring up a team and just a flow and process. And, we've been super fortunate. And
it's super interesting to me because I've been working in the back office space for over 17 years. So we would see in one area of the United States versus another area in the United States versus one area in Canada versus another area in Canada, things shift so radically and the functionality be so different that, when we were working with some of our early states, now we're in 30 states, 6 provinces, but in some of the early states, I do the demos of clients who would say, well, we pay our agents at the table through the settlement companies and those types of things. and the ability to say, we built it so that it's flexible. You can pay them or not pay them, and it still creates the 1099s and the T4As and those types of things, was just a full testament to what Sasha just said, because if a product is not flexible, that will take months of time to build out that type of functionality. And, within, learning of a new requirement, we were able to hit the ground running in almost every scenario. We didn't have a huge rewrite or a big, oh my gosh, we didn't think of that situation, because the team structure was such that they built the product with that flexibility in mind.
That brings up a really, really great point, because I'm curious on who this is really resonating with because of that flexibility. Mm-hmm. So when you build out Loft, you've now got this, you've got the LIs, that's great. But, I'm curious on what type of brokerage, or who even the person in the brokerage that, the solution resonates with, because this isn't, to your point, this isn't the sexy, AI driven lead gen video marketing stuff to every, agent that wants to acquire a customer. It's, this is very specific. So Tracy, maybe this is something that you could shed some light on, like, who is this really resonating with?
Well, it resonates with controllers, definitely, of real estate brokerages. It resonates with brokers that are fairly hands-on. It resonates with brokers that are hands-off, but hear a lot of negative feedback from their admin type staff and their accounting type staff when they're looking to do things like 1099 their agents and W-2s and all of that year-end type paperwork that can be a real nightmare. Or if a brokerage is paying just a huge number of dollars per month to accounting firms because they're not using tools that allow them to be flexible, it really resonates with that sort of back office community, because it solves so many problems.
I'd like to add something too when you're done. Yeah, and we find a lot of inbound sort of interest from our integration partners, because if somebody has a Dotloop or DocuSign or SkySlope, we're consuming all of that sort of source original data through. So it makes your deal processing faster, but it's also just a really seamless tie-in. So if they're already using something like that, tacking Loft on top of that is super simple in terms of getting going and also just building some efficiencies into the practice. So we do see a lot of that. So, or if somebody's choosing to change their transaction management software, that might be a time when they're looking for something else that's going to tie in to their tech stack, right? So we really appeal to people who, a lot of independent brokerages who, don't have any mandated solutions that they have to use, because we can tie into various different other tools.
Well, go ahead, Tracy.
I was just going to say, between independent brokerages, and we do work with a number of brands and take care of some franchise reporting. Remax is one of those brands. Century 21 in Canada is another brand that we work really well for. But the independent brokerage market space is huge as well. And we never really resonate with a lot of those companies because they seem to be, I don't know, we work with tech forward brokerages that are looking for automation, efficiencies, integrations. They understand the fact that a tech stack is often a better play than an enterprise solution that may, restrict them from their favorite products that they want to use and the favorite products that the broker, that the agents want to use in the brokerage too.
I think there's a few things that I want to dissect on this, because on the brokerage side, like just talking about selling to brokerages, it's, can you save me money? Can you make me money? Yep. Right. So we'll park that for a second. But one of the things from the venture community that, we see a lot with SaaS is, don't go to consumers because it's hard. You have to acquire all these customers. Go to business, right? Do B2B SaaS. It's really good. You get a very, sticky client. It's hard to turn off. But the challenge I find going B2B is identifying the right time and when your product is ready to be adopted by those organizations. I'm curious from both of you, when you're approaching brokerages, and you touched on this a touch, Sasha, like when is the best time and what have been the learnings when trying to sell to brokerages or trying to provide your solutions to brokerages as it pertains to the right time? Because to shift something that's so important as commissions and back office, I'm really curious on the learnings from that perspective.
I'll let you start with that, Trace.
Sure. So the best time is when the brokerage is feeling enough pain over losing time or not knowing their true numbers not feeling comfortable and confident in where they're at. So there's no best time of year. There's a best time of sort of pain solving. The best time is often when legacy staff is going to be leaving the brokerage. Mm-hmm. That's one of the best times. So when you're looking at your systems and you're saying, okay, we're going to have a big shift here. What are our systems? Do we want to just retrain or cross-train new staff on old systems? Or do we take this opportunity and really take a hard look at our anchor system, see what we can piece together as far as new technologies to make things more efficient? And Loft at our company, we're very expert at migrating clients to new technology. So where it seems really scary, we can actually make it fairly simple because we can, as Sasha mentioned, we can consume data. So we don't have brokerages that have 200 agents that have a staff member sitting there entering agent profiles. We're migrating data, we're moving data in, we're importing data, we're assigning information electronically to get up and running quickly. But yeah, I think the best time is when a brokerage realizes that they have pain and realizes that, what we can do for the brokerages, the biggest sign of respect is giving them time back, because time is the biggest thing that people have a shortage over. And giving time back means a better, healthier bottom line. And it means that they can spend more time recruiting and doing higher value items than spending cycles and spinning cycles on stressing out or having to be in the office to do certain things when they can just work more efficiently. I think that's a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can add to that a little bit. So other than if you're picking up a new technology, if you are picking up a Dotloop or DocuSign or SkySlope or something, that is a great time for people to be looking. So we do see that activity. We also see that activity if you get a contract renewal with a price increase or something like that. We don't have any contracts. So I think people really like that flexibility of being able to just join us at any time. And we look at it like, I think Tracy says this best, we have to earn your money every month. So yeah, we'll see that around contract changes. And then if you are experiencing, like we have a lot of people coming to us based on our support because they're just not getting the support that they need, or, maybe that's technical support, or even we find ourselves in an advisory role a lot of the time just to give, some feedback or perspective on, maybe what other best practices are, what other people are doing. So those are big indicators too that, somebody might be wanting to make that move.
I could also see, if for instance, you bring over a large team that perhaps has more complicated commission structures, and now the systems that you had, maybe isn't as robust as you needed to handle this new type of, for lack of a better word, client of the brokerage, the agent, right, and the team.
Yeah, the brokerages can change. We see it's really interesting because we see a lot of commission plans or something will change in one area of the country and then it'll sort of catch on, but it does require a whole different, framework or bigger teams or the way that they interact with their teams. So that's really interesting too.
Love it. So talk to me a little bit about what it actually looks like. So if I'm a brokerage, I love what you guys are doing and I want to switch. What does that look like? Like, do I have to get my hands dirty? Do I have to, you said that you kind of just ingest all this data. Like, do I literally just got to push a button and then just kind of cover my eyes and hope for the best? Or how does that
would be the ideal situation. We're not quite there yet. But from the time that you sign on, you get your welcome email. We just ask that they connect. So again, part of that is connecting system to system. So connect, and then we developed kind of our own export kind of requirements from different systems. So you can export the list of your deals or your agent roster and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll just ingest all that data for them. So there is still some manual work for sure on their part. We have self-serve training and we have one-on-one training and all that kind of stuff to help people feel like they, have the support to get up and go. But yeah, we try to do most of the heavy lifting, but there's still a little bit of manual work on their part.
Yeah, it's basically exporting setup data. So what are the agent profiles? Give us your fee structures. Do they have electronically in a spreadsheet what the agent assignments of fees are, and those types of things that we're able to reconfigure, import, so that when we start training, we're hitting the ground running, and then connecting to, what they're using on the accounting side, flowing the data through, making sure everything is looking really good. And then training. And training is basically 3 hours. of training, gets a brokerage up and running, closing and paying out deals. And then our support kicks in via our online chat, in which we answer our support requests in under 2 minutes on average. So it's just an easy interface, beautiful sort of rollout with lots of support as they need it. And then the beauty of the software is that after typically a 30 or 60 day usage period, we become like the Maytag. If I date myself, I'll go ahead and do that, but we become like the Maytag repairman. And we, you know, certainly communicate with our clients on a regular basis, but it's to say, hey, how's everything going? And, you know, is there anything we can do for you? So
I do vaguely remember that. So, you know,
yeah, sorry, I really did there.
But like on that, I feel like I might be surprised, but I would almost think that people would want to be a bit more involved in the onboarding because it's such a sensitive topic. And maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of data checking. And of course, we require that the data is reviewed prior to us importing it and making sure that it's actually correct. You know, and we need to make sure that we're hitting the ground with correct data. And there's you know, during that sort of onboarding period, we're doing some workflow discussions. And it almost depends on the size of the brokerage, because we have scaled pricing. We work with clients that are, you know, just brand new brokerages starting out, up to, you know, our largest brokerages are around the 400 or 500 agent mark. You know, many of our brokerages are around the 100 agent mark and things like that. So once you get up into that over 50, 60 agent range, then there are some workflow discussions. And as Sasha said, we sort of take on a consulting role of best practices in that area as well.
Yeah, I would say people like to be involved to the extent that they just want to validate that the data is accurate. You know, they don't actually want to get their hands on it and have to do the imports themselves. So we're happy to do that because accuracy is actually a really good sign that they're going to stay with us for a while too. You know, it's not a magic box. You can't take bad data and turn it into good data, but we can get the data right at the beginning and then they're much more successful in the long run. So we find that really important. Super
cool. So the other thing that I found really, really cool about your business specifically is the ability for you to come to the table as a value-added partner to your channel partners, right? That's what we would call it in the venture space. You call it your integrations.
Yeah.
And it's something that we talk a lot about with companies, especially startups, as they're thinking about, you know, what's my best way to grow. You've done an amazing job of building really, really great relationships with your integration partners. I'd love for you to maybe talk a little bit about, you know, who they are, how you went about doing it, and how you sort of conceptualized your approach to partnership. Because it's one of those things that if you can nail, it can just put your growth through the roof.
Yeah. So again, for us, and I don't know if I ever said this before, so I don't know if it's again, but integrations were not an afterthought at all, because I knew, you know, we knew that this commission piece was really important. This accounting, this real estate specific accounting was really important, but we also knew that we didn't want to build all the other pieces. So that was a strategy right from the get-go, and leaning at, I think the first one was Dotloop, and that was at the time, Allison's were there. So it was just this really great energy around it. And, you know, it's very easy for us to say to any one of our partners, hey, we don't want to do what you do. We have no interest in it. We're really good in this space. We're going to stay in this financial space. So we really sort of almost lean on them for their platform. And it's really easy for us to then, you know, talk to it, speak to it. And again, as that add-on product, it's amazingly productive. So when we focus on those integrations being super strong, and we do, because, you know, having light integrations doesn't necessarily always get you where you need to go. We have all of our integrations built in-house and we baby them, if you will, because it's the most important part of our business. It's like we fit into this chain of value. And so do our partners, and they just do a much better job in that space than we do. So it's really easy to talk to them about it. And so Dotloop was our first. It was really, even the interface just was really easy to do. And we ended up going and doing some talks at Inman together and really trying to go to market together. And then once we expand to different integrations, it is the same play, because even in our space, you know, competition is great. And we have a lot of different integrations with the transaction management system. There's a lot of people who have other integrations with them that are competing with us. And I just think there's a huge market out there with people who have different needs. So it's actually a really easy conversation to have in terms of, you know, functionality and what the best fit might be.
Yeah, and sorry about that. I was losing power. I didn't realize that.
I didn't want to ask. It's like, okay.
But you know, one of our bigger clients out of California, which was Red Oak with Vanessa Bergman, they were using SkySlope, and because of the manner that Sasha worked with the technology team, our developers, on building out the first Dotloop integration, it was really straightforward for us to build out the SkySlope integration. And as clients continue to ask for additional integrations, we've been able to accommodate them, and they've been amazing channel partners for us.
So I'm not going to let you off on the hook in this, because when you're starting out, and I've worn this hat before, nobody wants to take your call, like, at all. So you've got this product, you need the integrations, right? Because you're not going to build it. How do you call Dotloop? Like, how does this, like, tell me the story.
That is a great story. Tracy, take that story.
Tell me the story.
Well, what do you mean? Which part? I don't understand.
I met Alex at an event. No, we didn't. We got introduced to him. So we went to Realogy Forward.
Okay.
And then Tiffany was a Better Homes and Gardens managing broker.
Yeah.
And she got a demo from Tracy. And then she said, no, this was later. So this was after. And then she said, you guys have to meet Alex, like, from Dotloop. And, you know, he's just going to love this product. And so we did. We just jumped on a demo with him, and he was just over the moon. And he's like, this is exactly what we need. This is exactly what we need to do. Like, he was really the driving force actually behind it, and getting us, you know, I think we did that integration in about 4 weeks or something like that, because we had a deadline for
So we built against their API. Mm-hmm. We didn't ask them to integrate with us. And I think that because we had the technology chops to be able to do that, that made all the difference in the world. And it's a good point that we build our own integrations, because then we can fully support them and we can trust them. And our clients, I mean, again, the times that we get, I don't know if it's one out of hundreds of deals that we ever get a support request about an integration, because they're just rock solid, and they're deep integrations. We find in the marketplace, it's really interesting, and it's such a noisy marketplace, but we find that what someone will call an integration, we would never call an integration, because all of our integrations have a really hefty depth to them, as well as being really solid. So it's been cool.
Yeah, and I think that, and to that point, so I think the reason why Dotloop was excited about the product was because there aren't a lot of products in the accounting space that are doing really good integrations. And I think that was just a missing piece of the puzzle for them as well, because they had their API and they were building out almost a platform for their partnerships as well, right? And I think that we had to squeak in that under that 4-week time frame or something to get into a part of their marketing initiatives for the year. And that really drove a lot of kind of the excitement or fire behind it.
I'm totally picturing that bird that, like, eats the meat out of, like, a crocodile's teeth. I don't know, like, you know, it's like that true symbiotic relationship, right? Like,
we're tiny,
right?
They're huge,
right? Yeah. Like in a way, and I think there's huge gold here, because again, partnerships and integrations are massive, but getting that conversation and leading, the way you frame it, the way you lead it, is so important. And so what I heard there was a need. It was led through a warm introduction. You led product first. And then lots of things started to go from there, because I've seen so many times where people, you know, arguably the smaller player comes to play and they're like, hey, let's integrate and we'll do a rev share. Who are you, right? Yeah. So like, talk me through that. So you've got the product, it's integrated, and now you're up on stage at Inman co-presenting. Like, how did that part evolve? Because I think that's that really exciting part that we all want to get to, but I think sometimes we put that first, and it might be an impediment to actually having a really symbiotic integration or partnership.
Do you want to take that one, Tracy, or do you want to?
Well, I think it was really based on that personal relationship and the fact that we were able to achieve what we said we were going to achieve, and that we did the work. And, you know, it's the same sort of thing that happened with the deep accounting integrations that we've also accomplished, is that Sasha identified what she wanted to do. She took the team, she did the thing, and then came back and said, here's what we did, and here's how we did it. And so when you're taking that forward approach and actually achieving something and showing someone what you did with their product is a totally, again, it's Sasha turning this whole thing on its head. knowing there's market fit instead of building a product and finding the market fit. So, you know, our accounting integrations were completed before we approached those accounting partners even to say, they actually found us and said, hey, it looks like you've done an integration. Who are you and what are you doing? And we're like, oh, this is what we did. And they said, wow, that's amazing. And therefore we got awarded Industry App of the Year. You know, so it's a way of taking the initiative that Sasha has, and it's a special talent.
Oh, thanks. But actually, well, this is just drumming up for me now because this is really interesting. Yes, product led, meaning I chose Xero as our first accounting platform, just its flexibility, its strength of its API. I just love it myself. I didn't go to Xero. We built the whole platform based on having Xero as its base. So Xero accounting is fairly new in the US, but it's massive in the world marketplace, right? So I'm just working away. We used to sign up our customers. So I was the subscription holder, and I got a call from a rep from Xero. And she said, I see that you run or own this Remax commercial partners. And it was in Arizona, I think. And I said, no, I don't own it. I own the subscription. And she's like, well, we've got a partnership with Remax, and we're just looking at how we can help the real estate space. And I said, well, I have news for you. I built an entire platform for you. So this is how you guys can help the real estate space. So to that point, it is absolutely product led. And I haven't really thought about it that way before, but it is, the proof is in the pudding. We kind of build it, prove it, and then push it.
I love that story. Like, to be called by the account. There's something here we should talk about. Oh, by the way, I have this entire solution for you.
yeah. Like, oh, here, it's in this little box and it's called Loft47. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, they're fun.
So good. So you're in 30 states in the US, 6 provinces in Canada. What is next for Loft47?
31 and 7.
Good point.
That was the easy answer. That was the easy answer. Don't do that to me, Tracy.
I think it's, we're grateful we're at a place that we have so much exposure. We haven't had to change the core of the accounting functionality. So now we get to look at really enhancing some features. One of that being data. And we are just about to launch at the end of November here our data studio play, which is customized reporting and getting a lot of like rich data that can really help our brokerages inform themselves of sort of some trends that are happening in their business or whatnot. So we love that. I've been waiting for that. I'm so excited for that piece of it. And then in 2022, again, we're staying really in this lane of financial functionality and insight and being able to inform our clients to help them make better business decisions or see trends or help them with their recruiting. We're in a really good spot to understand the relationship between commission plans and maybe how that impacts, the brokerage's income or an agent's GCI or anything like that. So we're just really excited about all the things that we can bring to the table that really enhance sort of our base product offering. And then of course, we're always looking at integration partners. How do we make it better? The more we can automate, the better. So we're always looking at that entire life cycle as to how we can make that better or offer alternatives.
Love it. And Tracy, what's your next? Because I know even if you're, co-partners, founders, sometimes you have a little bit of different take on it. What's next for you? What are you excited about moving forward?
Yeah, I'm excited about really growing our partnerships this year. Our channel partners, we've been working hard with those. We've been working with a lot of payment providers, specifically Veeam and Routable, because they can turn money around quickly. I mean, the name of the game in the real estate industry is getting money in the bank, and those agents need to be paid. And that's been a challenge across North America. Some products work in Canada, some work in both. Some products are faster than others. So we've been excited to be working more aggressively with some of those types of products. I know that Sasha has been working and thinking about a pet project. I don't know if you want to mention Liquid or not, Sasha. That's up to you. She's shaking her head.
She's shaking her head. Don't speak out of school. Don't speak
Landing page coming soon. Landing page coming soon.
For later. Yeah. So
watch this space.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things happening on the horizon, but I think that we want to pay credence and respect to our partners and really work with them and make sure that we're identifying those clients that need the help, real estate accounting and real estate back office solutions, is a noisy market space, but ultimately it's underserved. And that is because, I don't know, because there's a lack of deep integrations, there's a lack of real understanding sometimes in the market space, there's a lot of legacy product out there, and we just need to continue to get our name out there. And we're really looking forward to working in conjunction with Reach Canada, of course, on our 2022 graduating year. So we really feel like we've only scratched the surface there. So that's a big part of our focus this year, is starting to work with our mentors and all the gracious help that you've all been giving us.
So on that, I want to wrap up here quite quickly, but you brought up a couple interesting points around servicing the brokerages going forward. And when you're forward looking, you've got to have some sort of finger on the pulse on trends. And now, given the data that you're collecting and the conversations you're having, I'm curious from your chairs, what is the landscape looking like over the next 12 months from the brokerage perspective as it pertains to the conversations you're having and the data you're seeing? Is there any interesting trends that we might not be talking about that you think?
I think there's finally 5 years after our initial idea of helping serve the brokerages when they are understaffed. I think that's now coming to fruition, where we were just a little bit early on that, because we are seeing a lot more interest in that side of it. Having an experienced company that can actually pick up and do some of that accounting lift and transaction processing for them. I think that's becoming a trend. We're seeing a number of service companies come out now that are looking to service brokerages. And it's interesting because, we have the ability to service brokerages, certainly, but not necessarily the desire to make that our core focus of our business. So we're now having service companies that are looking at our product and going, wow, this is a great suite of products for us to service brokerages. And we're not greedy. We want good tools. We want, good tools that can be used by all sorts of different brokerages as well as service players out there. And I think that I see that as coming out, because Sasha, look how many conversations we've had about that in the last 2-3 months.
Yeah, 100%. And it's true. 5 years later, I do think it's a little more palatable, I think. And certainly after COVID and people not being able to access the office as easily, there is a shift in the mindset there. So I do think that's coming. I also feel like throughout this pandemic, real estate's been very, very busy, and so has the back office. So a lot of our customers were doing 3 times the volume of sales that they were, at the same time in 2020. So having, had to be just so busy and using old systems, I do think that people will be taking a look at, how do I make this more accessible? So services, yes. How do I make it more accessible? And how do I get my systems to talk to each other? Because, if something picks up like that, they were just slammed, and the data showed it just slammed.
So on that, I think that's a great place to stop. So those people that are evaluating their systems, how the heck do they find you? How do they get in touch with you?
They can find us at loft47.com.
Awesome.
And yeah, easy ways to contact us there. It's that simple. We've got a ton of resources on our website, including pricing and such like that. We're pretty transparent. We're pretty straightforward. And they can book a demo, and we're going to be happy to talk to them about whatever they want to talk about, show them how our product works.
And we're on all the socials. So we've got a Facebook page, Loft47 Real Estate, and Twitter and LinkedIn. We are very accessible. Somebody wants to email me direct, Sasha at Loft47. Not hard to guess our email addresses.
We've got Tracy at Loft47.com.
We've got Tracy at Loft47. So yeah.
Well, on that, it's been an absolute pleasure, ladies. Congratulations on the program.
Thank you, Mike.
Congratulations on the traction. Again, I'm so excited to see what's coming for you. I honestly do believe you are the best kept secret in the space right now. And I'm just excited to see what can be done with more people becoming aware of what you can provide and bring forward. So with that, thank you so much for coming on the show, and look forward to seeing what's next.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike.